I'm inside and I got issues. Today's comic is Tome of Reckoning 2. I'm gonna take my gloves off so I can handle this book. Ah, that's better. I'm gonna do this via the salad method. S for story, A for art, L for lettering, A for action, and D for drama. How does this book measure up? You can use the salad scale to review comics too. Here's the story. Takes place right after the first issue. We're following Sarah and Mo. They're in a corn patch. This ninja swings through the air, lands in front of them, and there's this force ghost telling Mo to go with him. So she goes and teleports out of the area with him, just leaving Sarah to be alone. This opened a lot of questions for me. First of all, who is this force ghost? Why is she seeing a force ghost? Why does this ninja have teleportation powers? There's clearly a world that's being built, a world that is bigger than what is being shown, and it seems like there are some plans for the future issues. Sarah drives to the police station. There's no power at this police station whatsoever. There's this airship in the air, has an EMP field, and is trying to get something from within the police station. There's a guy that showed up last issue that is caught by the police this issue. The police were on his butt last issue, but he's got, you know. Stuff happens, you get got. He's all bloodied up. I think that looks awesome, and it makes him look really distinct amongst all of the cops that are there. Each cop looks like a very distinct character. I like how they're drawn differently. Great character design. My prediction is that these men in the airship, they want this guy who's in custody. And I'm gonna keep calling him Werewolf Man because from the first issue, I just looked at him and I was like, he's gonna transform into a werewolf. He has the body type as seen on this cover right here. Look at that. He's in handcuffs, and he convinces the cops to get the handcuffs off him so he can just turn into a werewolf and go. That airship drops a bunch of men to try to get the werewolf man, and he uses werewolf and he's like, just like that. There are some casualties though. I think the werewolfing scene looks really cool, but I'll get more into that into the art section. We get to see where Mo goes though. Where they've teleported. They go to a place that just looks like they're floating in the middle of space. It looks really cool. But then we get to ID who this person is. John Carr Theo is the ninja. You get to see a lot of cool scars on his body. He's kind of a personable guy. There's also a good reason why he can't go back and get Sarah. It adds a lot of good world building that I'm excited to see utilized in the future issues. If he teleports to a specific location too much, it creates a sort of beacon that other teleporter users can use. And I like how Mo is like, what can be worse than not getting my friend? And he's like, oh, there's a lot more worse people in the world than this. What are you doing? This isn't serious at all compared to people you could encounter that are terrible. Like, they could do most ungodly things to you. You just don't know. They're very powerful if they have the ability to teleport. And so I'm on his side naturally. He just instructs Mo, hey, just chill out on the couch. It's time for couch time. I'm like, okay, cool. Meanwhile, back at the police station, they got these cool robot dragonflies. Well, the airship does. And they go, and then they explode a propane tank on the side of the police station, causing a big old explosion. And I gotta mention, I'm holding the comic book. I flip it, and then I see the explosion immediately on the right side. And I'm like, oh my goodness, there's an explosion. What causes this explosion? So I go read, and I like the way that the dialogue is set up, and I thought it was really witty. And then there's like this guy speaking a really ironic line right before the rest of the page is filled with explosion, and it's really funny. And so that explosion made me turn the page as well, and I feel like a lot of the pages do this really well, but this one was the most notable. Now I'm on the topic. I flip, and then I'm like, what happens after the explosion? How are they gonna deal with this? They have a big old fight. like how the werewolf man is able to leave. He's just walking down the road, and Sarah's like, come on, come in. I'm like, yeah, let's go. And that's the end of the issue. I just spoiled the entire story. Because there's a cliffhanger at the end, makes me want to buy the third issue. I'm excited about this world. There seems to be a lot of potential, a lot of thoughts put into this structure of the world and the story that is being told, which I do like a lot. But what I liked even more was the art. I like the style that it's drawn in. It's a very, I'd say, simple comic book style. It's not what I would call like DC House style for sure. It's not that. But I like it's more of like a softer, and there's not as much like shading like they use in those house styles. I'd say the shading is mostly in the colors than the line art. The line art is just there to just indicate that there's a fold there, or there's like the body thing is there, the body part, whatever. It's not excess detail. I feel like there's more detail placed on the characters than the backgrounds, but only slightly. I think they have very similar levels of detail, the background and the characters, which makes it more fun to engage with the story, because I feel like they're in a world, they're placed in the world, and they belong in that world. Having the background not too detailed also makes it so I'm not super distracted by the background, and I just focus on the characters. And it does help that the characters are the focus of a lot of these panels. Like, you get shots where the background lines aren't even drawn out, they're just color, but I like the color gradient use. And oh my goodness, the colors in this book. I will say each page has its own color palette, and the color palette changes throughout the pages, but it does it in a seamless way where it's like kind of gradual. In some places, it's like this is more orange. It like transitions from the blue to the orange. Well, this is because the explosion happened. There seems to be a strong core of blue with a lot of orangeness towards the end of the book, especially with the explosion. But things that are unnatural, they get more of a bright hue, like the teleportation scene. A lot of white added to this blue, and it's not like the dark purplish blue, it's more of like a cyan blue, which is different from the environment. And the environment is kind of muted in this sort of way compared to the saturated colors of things that are unnatural. So when you sense things that are unnatural, it stands out to you more. Yeah, this werewolf man, his face is brighter than all the other faces. Every time that his face is colored, it's much brighter, and he's the main focus. And oh my goodness, I love how the werewolf is drawn. I love how hair is drawn in this book. I have to give mention to that. It's so aesthetic. And I like how the colors change within the what's clearly eraser lines over black, and then you just add the eraser tool. And then underneath that you color, but you add like the gradients. So I like how the gradient is on the hairlines. Like I said before, the character designs are very unique and distinct. Each character, very easy to tell each character apart. Last thing I gotta say about this art, the colors are yummy, and I really enjoy the art style. The onomatopoeia, oh my goodness, I like how the onomatopoeia is utilized. It's utilized pretty well. I especially like it when the onomatopoeia is across the screen. I think it's to show that this is just an overbearing sound that's happening, versus we got some directional sounds, smaller the further away it is, bigger the closer it is to you. The word bubbles are very well placed. I like the placement of them. They're very easy to read, very good flow. And the onomatopoeias, the placement of the onomatopoeias really help with the flow of the text as well, and it supports the bubbles. It's not just jarring, you have to go out of your way to read the onomatopoeias. It flows pretty nicely. Overall, I'd say it's pretty readable, and the onomatopoeia on the explosion is awesome. The action is pretty smooth. The transition into non-action is pretty smooth. The very beginning of the book, I'd say there's some action, and then the middle part, it's more expositional, what the police station is doing about this threat that's happening. The end is action-packed when the threat forces themselves onto the police station. I like how the wolf, he's forced to transform. Rawr. I think it's pretty dramatic that Sarah's friend got kidnapped by a random stranger. She has no idea who this man is. She just saw a random ninja come from the sky and say, "Come with me if you want to live all Terminator style." And she's like, am I supposed to trust this guy? And then she sees her friend walk towards him and then they just teleport away. She's like, where is she? I have to find her. But realistically, there's no good practical way to find her. You don't know where they teleported. There's also the drama of there being a lot of dead people outside of the police station. So what police officers we see is what we get because they're the last remaining police officers. That adds a little bit tension to the scene. We got a frickin' airship that can do EMP, no electronics working, no power whatsoever. This is all tension and has got me flipping until the end. I'm like, give me issue 3. This is exciting. I like this series. Oh my goodness, I've said this so many times, but I have to reiterate. I love the colors so much. And the art style, I don't know, there's just something about the art style. I like it so much. Such a vibe. So, what does this rank as? S-A-L-A-D. S for story. What would I give it? It's pretty compelling. There is room to grow. There's room to expand upon what's happening in this world. I think the main function has been achieved, which is to get the reader to keep on flipping and then get to the end and want to buy another issue. So you can keep creating comic books. So this book did succeed in that. I would give this one, it's a 4 out of 5. The art, oh my goodness, I love the art. It's so pretty. The action is well done. I like the motion lines a lot. I appreciate how it's rendered. I appreciate the energy. There's so much energy within these drawings. I think I gotta give this art, it's a solid 4 out of 5. The lettering, there wasn't a ton of lettering. There's necessary lettering. I guess I would have wished for ambient sounds, but I guess you can't really get ambient sounds with the power off. But maybe what's the landscape there? I did notice you're going towards I-40 and US Highway 40. I know that the 40 goes through Oklahoma, goes all the way west, all through LA. I've driven through the 40 a lot, so I'm very familiar with that region. And in the summertime, on the 40, you hear cicadas. If this is during the summertime, give me some cicada noises. I don't know how you would even say that in text. How would you write that? But cicadas would be a nice added touch. All I know is it goes through the south. Where does this book take place? It doesn't say explicitly. I just inferred it from the road signs at the very end of the book. Action. It is big and actiony. I like the pacing of the action too, so it gives you more impact on when there is action, to give you a little bit of a breather. Action, a little bit of a breather in the middle, then some more action. So I'd give the action, it's a solid 4. And then the drama, if you think about it from like a human perspective, it's like, oh, this is pretty tense. I feel kind of bad for Sarah. She's kind of not in a good place because her friend got kidnapped. And if you ever had a friend get kidnapped, that's not a good place to be in. So I'd give this drama, it's a 4 as well. So what does this get on the salad scale? This gets a 20 out of 25 on the sound scale. And that has been Mince Got Issues.